Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing more of the Order in All Things seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which all the cards in our deck get ordered with the highest provision cost cards at the top, giving us our best cards in every match. Today we are using that guaranteed consistency to pull off an amazing combo in a way we've never done it before. So let's go give it a look. So today we'll be playing a Syndicate Jackpot Salamander deck, which is something we've done before, but we've never quite played it like this before. Of course, the big idea with the Salamander is that when you use this as your finisher, you can poison every single card on the board, and if you can play a second copy of the Salamander, then you can remove every card on the board, giving you perfect finishing ability because, well, then your opponent has few, if any, units at all, and then if we can do something like make sure we have Veil on whatever cards we have on the board, then we can still survive and win 1-0, or in some cases, well, a lot more than 1-0 as well, because if our opponent does happen to have a few things that have Veil, or we don't have Last Say, so they can still have 1 or 2 cards at the end of the match they can play after we pull off the Salamander combo, if we at least have Roland Bleinheim with Veil, then he will get humongous because of all the poisoning the Salamander does. That means he will generate a ton of coins from Roland, and since we have Jackpot, we will over-generate those coins and give him a ton of boosts. He's capable of getting up to 100 or more even, so he is huge if we can give him Veil. That's the big round 3 setup, and of course, the deck is, for the most part, all about that absolutely amazing round 3, but taking a step back here. Starting off with round 1, we don't have as much going on there. We'll generally start with Dire Mutated Hound, which is a decent point-scoring engine for us. Then we might drop Azar Javed, our defender, in the same row to help protect that Dire Mutated Hound, and then follow that up with Ciri Dash, which should have just enough time to give us the extra card draw here. That way, even if we do lose round 1, we get an extra card, and that way we might still have Last Say, which is crucially important with the Salamander in particular. And then, depending on how many coins we have, if we're on blue coin, then of course we can get Tiger's Eye. Then we may be able to also use Moreelse to destroy whatever our opponent's most powerful card is, which could give us a chance of winning round 1. Otherwise, in addition to that, we can also use base Ciri, so that if we do end up losing that round, Ciri will go back into our hand, which is another way to make sure that even if we do end up losing, we can still have 1, possibly even 2 more cards than our opponent, dissuading them from playing further in round 2, and giving us a card we can use as a throwaway in round 2 to get us into round 3 with Last Say, which is, again, the crucially important thing to do with this deck. So then once we do get into round 3, we are looking at starting off with things like maybe just Roderick to get a little bit of coin generation going. If you lost round 1, you're looking for a throwaway card in round 2, then Roderick is not a bad option there. Then once you've done that, you can drop an early Fallen Rayla, who actually isn't that important, to be honest. So another card that if you absolutely need to, you could play it in round 2. Then a relatively early Gellert Bleinheim, who will start off with immunity, at least until you hit Adrenaline 6, and then he will allow you to poison some of your own cards every turn, which go for Marlene, and then on your next turn, once you can use her order ability, use that to immediately give Roland Veil as soon as you play him, because that is, as we were saying before, crucially important that he gets Veil. So once you've done that, then you have a card that can give poison to your units every single turn, and a card that can give you coins whenever you poison one of your units every turn, which on net means you can generate points every turn. So this can be a way of scoring some points outside of the whole Salamander combo. The best cards to do that poisoning on will be the Salamandra Abominations, which not only can you poison every turn and boost them, they will also automatically purify themselves at the end of your turn, which means you can do this every single turn repeatedly, at least once you're down to Adrenaline 6, which chances are by the time you're playing this, you're going to be there already, which is another reason why, again, it's not critically important that you save Fallen Rayla for round 3 because there's a redundancy there. And you also should have some stolen mutagens, which you should have enough Salamander units on the board that you'll actually get 2 mutagens out of this. So this could be another way to poison those abominations and get some boosts out of that and some coins out of that as well. And if for whatever reason you weren't able to give Veil to Roland or one of your other cards that you'd like to give Veil to, then you can also put Veil on there, or you could use the red mutagen to damage if your opponent does happen to have a card on the board that has Veil, then you might as well try to take that out. And then once you start getting toward the end of the round, that's where you're looking to play Salamander on your second to last turn. Obviously use the tribute ability to poison all the units on the battlefield, including your own, but that's why the Veil is so important. But assuming your opponent has little to no Veil, you're poisoning everything that they have. Then on your next turn, Decoy, which, because when you use that first Salamander order ability, should be just enough of a tribute between Azar Javed to guarantee that you get King of Beggars out from your deck. So at that point, when you're using Decoy on the Salamander on your very last turn in round 3, there are no units in your deck. And what that means is when you use Decoy, you are guaranteed to replay the card that you use Decoy on, because when you shuffle the card back into your deck, it's the only unit that you have. So it is a cheap and easy way to get a second Salamander. That way you're poisoning every unit on the board now for a second time when you activate that Salamander's ability with a tribute. That way, almost, if not absolutely every unit on your opponent's side of the board gets poisoned and removed, and because you have Veil on many of your units, those will survive, and especially if you have the Veil on Roland, he will get tons of coins when you do that. Because you have Jackpot, you'll overgenerate the coins and get tons of boosts on him, so even if your opponent does have a few cards that have Veil and survive, or if they have Last Say and get a unit or two on the board after you play that Salamander, you should still have more than enough points to take the win. So I'm really excited. I think this is going to be a ton of fun. Always love Salamander decks, so let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against monsters here, and we'll go first. And we just want to get rid of King of Beggars, because we of course want to keep that in our deck. Other than that, we're fine here. And we'll start out with our Dire Mutated Hound. That is our primary round 1 engine and user stratagem as well. And they'll begin with Oberon. Round 1, turn 1 is a little bit odd, but I mean, I suppose they are tied for dominance, so there's that. But now let's go with our defender, Azar Javed. And use the tribute. We'll get a refund on that from the King of Beggars, of course. And that helps protect our Dire Mutated Hound, but more so the high-value series that we're going to play pretty soon. Now, Detloff doesn't have much setup here, so there are no adjacent vampires, so just one turn of Blood Moon, so not really too worried about that. So let's play Ciri Dash now, and let's just make sure that we have enough time in that case to get the card draw from her. Then Goliath, big point slam, and a card that we could go after with Moreelse, although I'm a little bit hesitant to do that, because although that is 10 points of removal, which is nice in theory, that would get out, I believe, Marlene, which is a card that we do not want to be summoning out in this round. That is something that we very much need in round 3, so for that reason, I think we don't go that route. We might still use Moreelse, though, and just not pay the tribute. So I think that's what we go for here. We just do a little bit of damage and make sure that we have the dominance, not them. And not too worried about Detloff at this point, given how there's no more Blood Moon. So don't think we had to use the tribute on him. Then Proto-Flutter, okay, and now they have some bleed on one of our units, so that's a decent point slam at this stage. Now let's go with base Ciri, so that if we do end up losing this round, we can potentially still get 2 cards back, giving us Last Say in round 3. But there go our defenders, and so one of these series might get answered. In fact, that is a really good play with Toad Prince. And so I think maybe we do pass here and settle for losing round 1, but getting that base Ciri back into our hand for round 2. And so now we are susceptible to getting our cards bled out here, but we are very resistant to the bleed status because we have all this Veil. So I think we can use the throwaway with, ideally not Marlene. We'd like for that to maybe be Roderick, I suppose. Flutter. Okay, so they are going to try to push a little bit in round 2 here, but I'm hoping that maybe if we use Roderick, because of his Veil, that might dissuade them from going any further, because it's going to be pretty hard to set up bleed on us. And so they do pass. Okay, great. So in that case, I think we'll just use one of our stolen mutagens, and with this, I guess might as well just go for the coins, I guess, for the carryover there. And then once we've done that, since we are currently tied, let's just make sure we also use that order ability and outscore them in round 2. All right, nice. So round 2 could have been a bit of an issue, but we fortunately shut them down quickly by countering their bleed with Veil. And now for round 3, we should be totally fine. So let's begin with Gellert first, because he'll have immunity, so going to be pretty hard for them to do anything to him. Then they'll go Cave Troll Melee Row. Normally that'd mean Kelly, but probably with a Vampire deck, more likely to be Unseen Elder. Let's use Marlene, that way when we play our other Bleinheim brother on our next turn, we can immediately give it Veil. And Neckarat, well, they don't have anything that can poison, because we have Veil and Marlene and immunity on Bleinheim brother number 1. And here is Bleinheim brother number 2, who, as I was just saying, we can now give Veil to immediately, so we're just going to completely wall off their bleed potential. But they will continue to try. They'll play another Necrorat here. And in that case, well, we do have the Adrenaline kicking in now for the Salamander Abomination, so why don't we play one of those? And we can use the Tribute here to immediately poison it, get it boosted up. And because it has the Adrenaline, it will purify itself at the end of our turn. So, no more poison. And we also lose the immunity now on our original Bleinheim brother. So we'll be able to bleed those two, but I'm not too concerned about that, for reasons you will soon see. So why don't we get out our other Abomination here. We'll pay this tribute, and then we can use the poison from Gellert on the other Abomination as well. And again, because they both have that Adrenaline kicking in, they will be able to purify not only the poison, but also the bleed. So we have 2 Veiled units, and our other 3 units purify themselves automatically at the end of the turn, so gonna be pretty hard for them to make much progress with this bleed. No matter how many different sources of bleed they try to use. And in that case, well, let's just put the poison back on you, and why not get out another Veiled unit in that case? And, I mean, we could use the Tribute here. Not sure that's strictly necessary. I mean, yes, we can still do it without getting King of Beggars out here yet. I think that is probably something we'd like to avoid doing for now, but we'll settle for the moment just because, you know, we can still purify off that poison here. And they'll keep on trying to bleed us, but I'm sorry, dude, it's just not gonna work. And here's Unseen Elder. Okay, so we expected to see that at some point. That's actually a little bit concerning. We will get a poison on him from Rayla, but he can still damage us a little bit with that bleed since they have Devotion. But what we might do in that case is we can use the Stolen Mutagens, and we actually have enough Salamander cards so we can get 2 copies of the Mutagens here. So what we'll do is we'll poison one of the Abominations, and then we'll give the Veil, which is going to get purified at the end of the turn, but more importantly, the boost on Gellert, and that way, going to be much harder for them to remove him with the Unseen Elder damage, so he should be pretty safe at this point. And once again, we'll purify off the bleed and the poison, and as I said, the Veil, but that's not as big of a deal. Okay, now it's Armored Arrakis for even more bleed, but it still doesn't matter here. All those cards still purify the bleed at the end of our turn. Though at this stage, we will probably need to play Ciri, and she will not get the bleed purified. So this will be the first card that they actually make some progress on with their bleed. And you know, not a ton of value with her, but so be it. We can still poison ourselves. And I mean, we could remove that poison and get a little bit of boost value on Rayla. I suppose, sure, we'll do it once. Still get the purification. And Queen of the Night for purification. Okay, they're concerned about us poisoning Unseen Elder, I suppose. But, no, that was not the source of poison you should be concerned about. Because this is the turn where we play Salamander, but might as well use Jackpot first, and we can use this to, once again, just boost up Gellert, try to keep that out of removal range. And go Salamander. And we have enough coins, of course, to use this tribute, which will poison everything on the board. And since we are purifying our poisons in many cases, or in other cases, just don't even receive that poison because we have the Veil, no problem on our end. It does also get out the King of Beggars, which means we have no more units remaining in our deck, which is crucially important for our last play here. And Oriana would be a powerful engine, but just not a lot of cards that can give that bleed to, so much harder for them to power her up. And just to double check, so all specials in our deck, no units. That means if we use Decoy here, we are guaranteed to get back whatever we use the Decoy on. In this case, if it's Salamander, that means we can use Salamander a second time, poison everything on the board again, so if it didn't have Veil, it's getting removed. And I mean, sure, we'll remove poison on one of those guys, get a little bit of extra boost on Rayla. Yeah, I mean, we could do it one more time on another unit. We could spend the coins on King of Beggars, but I think we proved the point here. Because at this point, this matchup is going to give them nightmares every time they play Gwent. And this has got to be Regis, right? It's 9-point Regis, which is definitely not bad, but it is nowhere near enough so we will take the win. That was awesome. Alright, so going up against monsters here, and they'll go first. Alright, so just looking to mulligan King of Beggars here, because we of course want to keep him in our deck. Other than that, we're good to go. Alright, it's Cave Troll, Range Row. I mean, you see the Carapace, you would have thought maybe Kelly, but Range Row Cave Troll does not work with Kelly, so I mean, maybe Kelly in a later round bring Cave Troll back with Witch's Sabbath? I don't know, that's a little bit odd. But anyway, we'll start off with Dire Mutated Hound. That is, of course, our primary engine here. It's Edoran. Oh. They looking for some really ambitious Arrakis Queen Weavis combos. I imagine that's probably what it is in that case, so this could get interesting rather quickly here. We'll see. We'll see. But now let's go Azar Javed. And we'll pay the tribute. Protect this Dire Mutated Hound. And get the refunds on the coins from our King of Beggars. Okay, it's Caranthir. Yeah, I think that's exactly what this is. Because there she is. Got rid of Edoran immediately, though. Would have thought they'd at least have him stick around a little while longer. Well, anyways, next on our list is Ciri Dash. So we want to try to have just enough time to get the card draw on that. And there's the Weavis directly from their hand. So it's going to be Arrakis Queen, of course, that they're trying to trigger the Death Wish on to create extra copies of something. Question is, what is that something? I would guess maybe it's Skirnikora, but we'll see. As for this turn, this could be the time to play Moreelse and just get rid of their Cave Troll. I mean, obviously, we'd love to get rid of one of these Weavises, but that's not possible at the moment. So I think it probably does have to be that. Well, then again, we don't have the Tribute 6 unless we get a Leader ability, which I'd rather not do in case we need the coins in round 3. We probably won't. I mean, we could go Roderick. It's another card that I like to use as a throwaway in round 2 if we absolutely need to, but perhaps we can get by using him in round 1. Kelly Range Row. Okay, they're going to create a bazillion Kellys on their next turn? Possibly? Maybe? Alright, so actually not sure I've seen people use the Weavis combo to create a bazillion Kellys. I did this way back in the day for +1 years ago, and it does tend to backfire, because your Kellys tend to destroy themselves, but I gotta respect it. Gotta respect it. So, I think we want to throw down Ciri. I mean, we are behind at the moment, but they've played one more card than us. I mean, we're, what, 2 turns away from being able to use Moreelse, which I'm not sure at this point we're going to have time to get that happening, so I think we're just dropping Ciri, and we might have to go without using this tribute. There's the Arrakis Queen, and here come the bazillion Kellys, which is, yep, going to destroy one of their cards. So, again, as I was just saying, it does tend to backfire more often than not. They are in the lead, but we are about to get 1 card draw from this Ciri Dash, and if they do win, we'll get base Ciri back into our hand as well. So I'm thinking we might just pass here. Otherwise, it'd be Moreelse, which, again, unfortunately, 1 coin away from being able to use the tribute on that. And at this point, we could use to get rid of a Kelly, but I think maybe we just settle for this. Get our card draw here. And they'll win, and that means we'll get base Ciri back as well. Alright, and we drew back into King of Beggars, so definitely need to mulligan him, of course. But other than that, we should be good to go now. So we have 3 more cards than them. They'll go with Xavier, which I think is for Witch's Sabbath. They're just trying to remove our best cards here. Yeah, they get rid of Ciri. They are planning to use Witch's Sabbath. The question is, are they going to Witch's Sabbath in this round, or are they going to wait until round 3? They do need to have us still have 3 units if they're gonna get 3 Kellys out of it. Otherwise, they're only gonna get 2 Kellys. So on and so forth, depending on how many they do end up banishing. Can hit you, but we can't destroy you again unless we use our leader ability here. Base Ciri with Moreelse still not sufficient. I mean, technically, we don't need to use Gellert in round 3. We could use him here. He does give us some coin generation, so that's still not going to be enough unless we... Oh, no, we don't even have a Soul Mutagens here. So yeah, I think it's going to be Gellert in that case. Don't love it. Would ideally save him for round 3, but just in case. So I'm not sure. They may be trying to use Witch's Sabbath in this round. I'm not totally sure about that yet. If we can get enough coins here to take you out, at this point they're obviously investing a lot in Xavier, and they probably have a lot more specials where that one came from. Problem is getting 1 more coin is still not easy, because got 2 from Gellert, and we can't use Roland. He must wait till round 3. Obviously, Salamander is waiting for round 3. Technically could play Rayla and not use her. Actually, we could still use her tribute, and we'd get the refund from King of Beggars. But see, how much does he have counter-wise? Yeah, that's still safe. Okay, so if we do this, then we do have enough coins. So if they do continue to invest further in Xavier, we can remove him with Moreelse, and that should be, I would hope, enough to dissuade them from playing any further. Obviously, Ciri is also a card we can use in this round. She doesn't matter much anymore. She's not worth that much anymore. So she's basically just a throwaway. Yeah, okay, now it's packed. So that's an 18-point Xavier, which means this is a very valuable Moreelse. So my hope here is just that that's going to be enough to dissuade them from playing any further in this round. And just want to make sure we'd like to keep, yeah, King of Beggars still in our deck, even after using this tribute, which should still be the case. So if we do this, this is probably the time to make this move. But they do use Witch's Sabbath in this round. Wow. Okay, I did not expect them to use that at this point. Yes, we do have more cards than they do. Ellie will destroy some stuff, for sure. The problem for us, yes, we can beat Kelly in 1 round, but probably not in 2 rounds is the tricky part. At this point, who would Kelly end up destroying? Would be one of our 5s, potentially Gellert. Azar Javed is our most disposable card of all these ones at the moment. It's looking like the Salamandra Abomination is probably the next play for us. Again, just trying to do whatever we can to avoid having to play one of our really big cards that we need for a later round. So now you both get purified every turn. We'd like for Azar Javed to be the card that gets destroyed here, if they do destroy one of our cards. Here come the leader ability charges. Okay, it is Alyssa Henson, so that means we will keep some cards here. And that is really nice, because that means we can maintain this engine here. We're going to have to spend coins if we want to do that. The only way we sustain the coins is if we also have Roland on the board, which, as I said, is kind of necessary for round 3. I think we're just looking at another Salamandra Abomination, which means we are just barely avoiding getting our King of Beggars out here, so should still be fine. But we are, of course, playing another unit, which means there is certainly potential for them to shut that down with their Kellys. And we could spend a little bit more here. Poison you again. You'll get purified at the end of the turn. This is our best way to get high-powered units, which is, of course, the best way to play around Kelly. And they do play another unit here. Okay, so that's actually really nice, because that means that now all the cards that are currently on the board are safe, and we can maybe just throw down Ciri, and she'll be our sacrificial lamb if they do end up destroying anything else. Now, of course, Sheetroll will get boosted if something gets destroyed, but also the Veil is terrible for us breaking out Salamander if we do end up doing that. And we don't have any of our stolen mutagens, which would be the way that we would get Veil on Roland, which would be the way that we'd keep him alive with Salamander. So this combo doesn't even work all that much in this round right now. So we... Oh, well, we can still do it with Marlene. Okay, so yeah, that's still possible. Still possible if we absolutely need to, but we very much do not want to go that route. So Let's just hit you. And again, I think we're getting a little bit aggressive here when it comes to the spending of coins. They do pass now. We lose Ciri, and this timing is quite awkward because it's close. Let's see, save 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So anything that we play here would potentially get destroyed. The lowest card would get destroyed, which if we play Marlene, it would end up being Azar Javed or Gellert. It just buys us one more turn in which to put poison on the Salamandra Abomination, which means 4 more points versus 2 more boosts on She-Troll. I think it is still the play. And then it might also require a Jackpot here. So you're going to go up by 2. We're going to go down by 6. So yes, we need to do this. And I'm not sure if we have enough coins to pull this off in the next round. We're going to see. We will win round 2 here. And the game really wants us to draw into King of Beggars, but mulligan him. Okay, we can get Purification. I don't think that helps us too much. We can get the Veil on Roland using one of these stolen mutagens, and we can then, next time around, I think, poison with the blue mutagen and get coins, which is hopefully still going to be enough for us to use Salamander. If we're dumping you, Mahakam Ale, I mean, it's a boost. Not sure it's going to be all that useful, though. So, it's going to have to be Roland first, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. So, did their Kellys... They did get some Kellys that did not have Doomed, so it is possible they might still be able to get one of them out. Well, they used Witch's Sabbath already. Did they use Alyssa? They've already used Alyssa as well. So I'm not sure how they can still win this round, what their win condition is, because their deck is basically built entirely around Kelly, and they can't get those Kellys back, I don't think. So now let's go, and we go the Veil route first. Then it's going to be Poison to get enough coins, which should be, I think it's just enough to pull off at least the initial Salamander. So we go here, and we go Poison coins. Then what is this Oniro going to get? It's... Okay, they did use Alyssa to get back their Witch's Sabbath into their deck. I did not remember that that was something they went about doing. Okay, so we're tied 4 units to 4 units. And we only have one more unit that we're planning to play. We'll get King of Beggars out here. But most important thing is that you survive. And, I mean, we could put Veil on Azar Javed while we're at it, I suppose. Why not? And this turn is probably Mahakam Ale, and there's a specific card here that we really want to make sure survives. I mean, obviously Roland, but outside of that, I guess Rayla. So we'll get her boosted up as well. And, well, it's Mahakam Ale for them as well. Alright, so they have activated the Sabbath here. Will we be able to sustain the second Salamander? That I'm actually not sure about because, well, we'll get the coin generation here from Roland. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be pretty close. So we don't have much refund ability left on this King of Beggars. So could be a very close call here. We're going to find out. Pay the tribute. Do the poisoning. Get King of Beggars out here. Yes, we are at 9 coins, and they realize what's about to happen. They are not going to let us do it, though. They forfeit. So there's a look at the Syndicate Salamander deck for the new Order in All Things seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.